Time and time again, I keep getting asked from friends, family, coworkers, people I play with online. They're like, dude, what are you doing? Give me some tips. Give me the skills. What do I need to do to get better at first-person shooters, to get better at first-person gameplay? So what I want to do right now, instead of breaking it down, what I do like before I gave you guys Call of Duty, how to get better at Black Ops 3, yada, yada, yada. Then I gave you Battlefield 1, how to get better, different sniping tips, different tips on how to get better at Battlefield 1. Right here, right now, I want to just give you guys a cumulative. This is just going to lay the base of the first of a multiple of a series that I want to do for you guys with how to get better at first-person shooter video games, how to get better to actually improve your reaction time, how to improve your skills, how to improve your wins, how to improve your kills versus deaths in a multiplayer game. And this is multiplayer gameplay in first-person shooters. The number one thing as we get into this is going to be 10. It's going to be 10 on this video. Like I said, I'm going to make this a different part series. It is video number 1, 10 steps, different things that I've done, different things that I do, different things that I personally recommend. These aren't tips from anybody else. These are the tips that I would give you guys. This is not from anybody else. These are my personal tips, what I think you need to know to get better at any first-person shooter video game. Because ever since I was a young kid, I love video games, always play video games. But the minute I laid my hands on GoldenEye 64, the minute I laid my hands on Half-Life, Team Fortress, I was like, yo, first-person shooter video games, those are the games for me. So I'm going to try to lay this down for you guys real quick. We're going to get into the 10. And they're not in any specific order, but a couple of these are really, really important. All right, so number 1, first thing that you want to do to get better at any first-person shooter video games. If you're playing single player and you're thinking, yo, the single player is going to help me get better at the multiplayer, forget about it. Stop it. Stop doing that right now. Get out of the single player. The single player is just what it is. It is single player. Multiplayer is where you learn how the enemy moves, is where you learn how your opponents are moving, what their opponents are doing, what weapons they're using. The maps that you play on single player, although they might be certain replicas of your multiplayer maps, they're not going to be the same maps. So learning that map on single player and then thinking that it's going to help you in multiplayer usually doesn't work out like that, my friends. Even learning those maps, when you're playing multiplayer, you learn the common choke points, you learn the busy areas of the maps, you learn places to avoid, you learn different routes, different areas that you need to defend, different areas where people flank. You learn certain things you're never going to find in single player. So right now, if you're playing single player thinking it's going to help you in the multiplayer, stop it, my friends. You might say, well, I want to go to single player to familiarize myself with the weapons. That same weapon might not operate the same in multiplayer because the multiplayer enemies may take a lot more damage than they do in single player. So you're going to sit there and be like, yo, this gun in single player was so good. It was getting me so much damage, but in multiplayer, it's not the same. I'm telling you, get out of single player. That's tip number 1. Get out of there. My tip number 2, guys, and this is very important. This is something that I do even now. This is something that I do in my gameplay, no matter what game I'm playing. Learn from every single death. When you die in these video games, when you're dying and you're playing multiplayer, take that death and instead of just saying, okay, I died, it hurt my KD, or I died, let me just respawn as quick as possible, think to yourself, figure out, why did I die? What did I do wrong? Because believe it or not, instead of getting angry and blaming everything else like lag or hacks or blaming everything else, focus on there's something that you did wrong. I know you don't want to hear this. I know I don't want to hear this, but I've kind of trained myself to tell myself there's something that I did wrong. What did I do wrong? And you'll usually find, well, maybe you put yourself out there too open. Maybe you weren't as accurate with your shooting as you should have been. Maybe you misinterpreted what the enemy was doing. Maybe you didn't have enough health to engage him. Maybe you should have waited, but there's always a reason why. You can sit there and say, wait a minute, let me learn from this death. Instead of rage quitting, that's one of the worst things you can ever do. That's one of the worst things you can ever do. I'm telling you right now, you're playing a multiplayer game and you get owned a couple times, you get that feeling you want to rage quit, you want to just leave. Never do that, because you only grow your combat abilities when you're playing these games if you're getting challenged. And if you're to the point where you're raging and you're backing out, you're getting challenged, but you're not meeting that challenge. You're just backing out and you're leaving. You're not actually learning off of those deaths. You're not actually using that to enhance your game to make you better. The single time you die, think about why. Why was it? What happened? What did I do wrong? And I guarantee you will slowly start to appreciate those deaths. You'll still get angry. Don't get me wrong. You still get angry. but you'll start to appreciate them as you learn from that, and it slowly makes your game better and better and better. Tip number 3 for first-person shooters, how to get better at first-person shooters multiplayer games, is stay cool under fire. What I mean by stay cool under fire, resist the urge to look at your health bar. I know a lot of times, your screen might flash, you see the hit markers where the hits are coming from, you look down at your health. That time you're looking down at your health is going to take your focus away from tactics. It's going to take your focus away from where's the enemy. Guess what? You're still alive. You're still alive. That's why you're looking at your health meter. Guess what? Your health is almost gone. It doesn't even matter. You do not need to look at your health. A lot of times players get overwhelmed. As soon as they get hit, the first thing they do, instead of thinking about ducking, dodging, instead of thinking about getting away the bullets, instead of thinking about where's my threat coming from, where are they shooting at me from, you start looking at their health. You never want to do that. Only start looking at your health once you've gotten rid of that threat, once you've gotten rid of the enemy, once you can actually say, okay, now I've got some cover, let me check, let me assess what's going on here, let my health regenerate. If you're playing a multiplayer game where your health regenerates, but do not, once you start taking fire, do not even look at your health. Don't even look at your health until there's a lull in the action, or you're going to get yourself killed. You need to focus on what your biggest threat is at the time. You need to focus on staying alive. And how do you stay alive? What are your chances of staying alive? Taking action, dodging, taking cover, fighting back, but not looking at your health bar, because that's really not going to help you guys. And this is just in addition to staying cool under fire. One thing that I always do, think about it, right? If you're playing a first-person shooter game, let's say you turn the corner and there's multiple enemies. There's more than one. Let's say there's 2 enemies and they're both running at you. They both see you. That means you're seen. That means you're spotted. So you have a pretty strong chance of not surviving that encounter with the enemy. What I tell everyone to do, what I highly encourage you to do, and what I usually do, is focus on one of those enemies. I mean, the bullets are flying, your health is going out the window. Focus on one of those enemies. Take one of those enemies out. The reason why I say to do that is because even if they get you, even if they take you out, at least you took out one of them, all right? Even if they took you out, you at least got one of them. The common real knee-jerk reaction, as soon as you turn the corner, an unskilled player, as soon as they see those 2 enemies running at them, they just spray. They just spray and pray everywhere. They get nothing for that. You get no kill. You get nothing. Both the enemies are still alive, and you're just dead. It didn't work out for you. So just focus on one, because what'll happen is, and once you start to build up on this, what happens is you turn that corner. Once your skills start to progress, you turn that corner. There's 2 enemies coming at you. You just say, hey, I'm focusing on one. You're staying cool under fire. You take out the one. Then immediately you can start your focus on taking out the other. What you need to do when you're playing first-person shooter games, you're playing a multiplayer, you're playing against other people, one thing that's huge is reaction time. So what you always want to do is make sure your reaction time is quick twitch, is on point as much as possible. So what you want to do is give yourself an advantage by always sitting up. Sit up, do not recline, do not lay back on your sofa, lay back in your lazy boy, lay back in your chair, because believe it or not, although you're relaxed, although you're chilling out, although you're in there for a casual game, it's not going to help your gameplay. Your inputs are going to be slower. Believe it or not, your inputs are going to be slower. You'll have less chance of reacting quickly because you're just laid back, you're relaxing, your body's relaxing. What you want to do is you want to sit up, sit in the middle of your TV, sit in the middle of your monitor, whatever you're playing on, whether it's like here right now, I play on the computer, so my monitor's right here in front of me, or whether you're on the sofa, maybe 10 feet from your TV, whichever way you are, make sure you're sitting up and make sure you're in the middle of your TV. Because the way video games work is basically when you shoot, for the most part, first-person shooters, when you're shooting a gun or you're attacking an enemy or what have you in a first-person shooter, you basically have to look at your screen as having a dot in the middle of your screen. And that dot is basically your cone of lethality. Basically anything, there's a cone that goes out from you to that dot. Anything in the middle of that dot is basically catching the brunt of whatever you're throwing out, whatever you're shooting. If you're sitting off-centered, you're not going to notice it, but it's going to take you time to kind of get that dot directly onto the enemy. Time that's unnecessary. Time where the enemy's going to have time to react and take you out. So always sit right in the middle of your screen, your monitor, your TV. Sit up and be ready for the action, ready for the gameplay. So alright guys, this is just the first video in a series where I'm trying to help you guys improve your gameplay on whatever game that you're playing. I hope this really helps you guys. This is just the first video of this series, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stick around, because as we go further in the Rump School of Gaming, I'm going to try to give you guys more tips to help you guys improve at all different types of games. But right now, we're talking about first-person shooters. Got a couple videos for you guys I think you might enjoy. I'm out of here.